welcome to Maple Leaf Muscle. This episode is brought to you by GorillaWear. Make sure you visit GorillaWear.com and use Johnny for 15% off. Today we are with an awesome guest, but I want to say what's up to our co-host, Christopher Robin Strand.
What's going on?
And we have 2018 could be Mrs. Olympia, bikini competitor Jennifer Dorie to the show here today. We are so honored to have you.
What's up, guys? I'm excited to be on here.
Great. Yeah, this is our first interview. We're stoked to have you here today, especially just going to lead our way and segue with just the Canadians. We have a really good year coming up. 5 weeks out you are now?
Yes, just under 5 weeks out now.
Just under 5 weeks. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good, actually. It's kind of like a second win that I got now. I've been dieting for 27 weeks. So I thought I'd be tired at this point, but it's almost like, how can you be tired when you're going to the Olympia?
Yeah.
It's just in itself an accomplishment. So I'm pumped for it. I got new energy levels going into it.
Cool. Well, so we want to kind of get in the nitty gritty here and give you get a nice interview here and open up and let everybody know who you are. I know people know who you are, but just know who you are personally. So you got a story, right? You have some kind of tell us how you got into this. Tell us your story and go.
How I got into this. Well, I started working out when I was 16. Kind of just to keep me busy. After school I would go to the gym, and it just became a social thing for me, made a habit out of it. And then I think I was 17 when someone approached me at the gym and was like, you should do bikini shows, you have crazy genetics, and you train harder than half of these guys in here, what are you doing? And I was like, bikini, what's that? I had no idea. It was actually Cosimo. He's a men's physique competitor. He got me into it. So I had to wait till I turned 18, obviously, because I didn't have the teen category back then. So once I turned 18, I did my first open regional show, and then I won the overall there. And then I did Coburg Naturals, a regional show. I won the overall. Did provincials for natural. I won the overall. I did open provincials, and I won my class there. And then my first nationals, I was crushed. I was first calls, but I was sixth place. And then took the year off, came back next year. I won my class, but no pro card. That was in New Brunswick. And then last year was in Laval, Quebec, and that's when I won my pro card. And then again, took the year off, came back this year. And then Toronto was my pro debut, so I placed third at Toronto. 5 weeks after that, I did Vancouver, and I placed second to Ashley Kaltwasser, which was pretty cool. So they had the two of us just on stage. That was probably the best experience so far, competing, getting to share the stage with her. And then 2 weeks later, I was in Vegas, and I tied for third with India and ended up placing fourth. And then last weekend, I was in Tampa, and I placed second there. So that gave me all my Olympia points this season.
Wow.
But it was kind of crazy because I wasn't expecting this year. I wasn't planning on doing the Olympia or even trying to qualify. I didn't even think it was possible to qualify this year. I was just I'm just going to test the waters as a pro, do Toronto, Vancouver, maybe one in the States, get my face out there. And I thought I was going to be done enjoying my summer. So, and then I'm just one more show. So
yeah, nice.
Once I got the points, I was I might as well keep going. And Sandy was if you don't go to Tampa, I was okay, I'll go. Yeah. But I almost didn't do Tampa because it was kind of, after Vegas, I was just so tired and peaking back to back, 2 weeks peak. 2 weeks peak is so hard on your body, just water retention, and especially when you're flying back and forth, and it's 10 days in between the travel. So I was kind of discouraged. I didn't want to do Tampa, and my head was in it, but I just didn't think that I was going to be ready on time. But somehow we ended up pulling it together and bringing my best package. So when I saw the picture, I'm I look like that on stage. So I was quite happy.
So, okay, hold on. How old are you?
21.
You're 21.
Yes, I'm 21.
I thought you were 20. So you're young. You got a long career ahead of you.
Yeah, I'm such a baby compared to everyone. I think I'm the youngest person on the Olympia stage, actually. The youngest bikini competitor.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So that's pretty cool.
Wow. No, that's really cool. So wait a minute. Ashley must have been, how old is Ashley Katzwar? Do you have an idea?
I think she's 29.
So almost 10-year difference.
Yeah.
And you're just up there with the big dogs, just hanging in there and killing it.
The big dogs. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Even sharing the stage with like India Polino and like a bunch of other Olympians. The past few shows have been pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Getting to meet everyone who like I've looked up to the past few years, and like competing next to them is pretty mind blowing.
Yeah. Cool. So it's legit. We're gonna ask some questions here and really kind of like peel back the layers.
Sounds good.
You have the first question. You go ahead.
Okay. Well, you did answer the first question already, which was how you got into competing, but who inspires you the most?
Competing wise?
Yeah, or just in general.
I have to say myself. Like I don't know. I don't really have like an idol, anyone that I idolize. Just myself. I just try and push past and be better than my previous kind of thing. Like I like to just look at what I've done and think like, okay, how much more can you do? For me, it's always like I'm never satisfied. Even after a show, even if I like won the Olympia, I'd be like, okay, what's next? Like it's never, nothing's ever really enough for me. So that's kind of my inspiration, just to keep pushing for the next level. There's always a higher level.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think that's a good.
Go ahead.
You can't like be anyone else, right? So if you're always looking up to someone else, you're always gonna wish you looked different or wish you were someone else.
Exactly. Yeah. And I used to like have people that I would look up to, and then like realistically your body structure, your genetics are different. So to try and look like someone else it's kind of silly. I don't know. I would rather just try and look like the best version of myself versus someone else who probably has different structure, genetics than me. It's unrealistic.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, that's actually good for the other competitors out there to hear, because there's a lot of younger bikini competitors that are always like, you know, I coach some girls who are like, oh my god, it's Jen Dorie, she's amazing. and they kind of lose track of how good they can be and how good they are.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're not where you are right now. They could possibly be there, you know, down the road, but they kind of almost put themselves in a position to think they'll never be as good as Jen Dorie. But Jen Dorie is Jen Dorie.
You're too focused on someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What's the hardest thing you've been through during your competitive career?
Preps.
Yeah. If you
I
want to actually say that.
I feel like all of my shows have had like some kind of like drama or stress revolved around them, whether it's been like relationship wise or like coaching wise or like travel stress. But I don't know, I feel I do well in stressful situations. So like Vancouver, for instance, was stressful. My baggage was lost and I flew in there late on the Friday, so I didn't have any of my stuff. I ended up getting it like late Friday night. Toronto had some stress, some personal stuff going on that was pretty stressful. And I think Vegas actually wasn't too stressful, nor was Tampa. It was just the hardest thing, I think, was peaking back to back and staying focused between the shows. Especially like from Toronto to Vancouver, 5 weeks is like a pretty long stretch between shows. When you're depleted, you're tired, and you're still trying to maintain that motivation. Whereas like 2 weeks is a much shorter time period. You know, you're fresh off the stage and you're just hungry for that stage again. But at the same time, your body's tired, and to try and play around with the water and sodium manipulation again, your body's rebounding, obviously. So I think the hardest thing is just being able to look at your body and be like, it's just water, especially when you're that close to a show. Even right now, I'm so used to being a week out that I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? I'm like, you're just not dry right now because you're not a week out, and you don't need to be because you're 5 weeks out. So I think just keeping in mind like where you are versus where you need to be timing wise.
Yeah. Well, Robin's got a nice good one for. Ask the next one, Rob.
So what's your technique for overcoming obstacles when you're on prep?
I try and just stay focused, and like the best thing for me, I think, when I'm in prep is I just shut off my mind. Like I don't listen to anything that my head tells me, because our minds are crazy as competitors. We all know this. And for me, like I always think I'm never shredded enough. I always think I'm not conditioned enough. And my feedback is that I'm too conditioned. So it's like, it's just something in our head. And I think most competitors struggle with that because you're so obsessed with this idea of perfection. Because obviously you're going on stage to be judged by judges based on certain criteria. So a lot of times like I'll like go and like check with the mirror every 5 seconds, check out my abs or something like that. And I just try and shut off my mind, and just anything my head says, I just don't listen to anything, especially like the past like 2-3 weeks before a show. I don't listen to anything I say. Cool. And just remind yourself like your mind is just playing tricks on you. Don't listen to it. Yeah. And it helps. Like I have friends and my sister who don't compete, so it kind of helps keep me grounded. I'm not like fully engulfed in the competing lifestyle. There is some outside stuff that I do as well.
Cool.
Nice.
What are some outside stuff that you do as well?
Just like I find if you're in a group of friends where everyone is competitors, it's kind of sometimes it becomes too much like absorbed in the competitor lifestyle, and it's like you're obsessive with it. It's just everything like from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed is obsessed about competing and how you look and your body versus when you're like normal people, I guess I would say, like that's not the obsession. You know what I mean? Like you can go and have a conversation that's not about bodybuilding. Like I can still go out and do things with my sister, like my friends that are not bodybuilding related. So I think that helps to maintain a balance where you're not obsessing over your body all the time and obsessing over, am I going to be ready? Or look at this competitor, look at this person, because you're not focused on that. Because other people are like, there's other things in life than just competing.
Yeah. Cool. That's actually like,
Nice.
it's, I'm actually like, I'm not like blown away, but I'm actually like pretty impressed with how professional you are. You had a really good mindset when it comes. I think being a good professional, you have to have a good, strong mindset and knowing how to balance your life out. And you know,
Yeah.
everything you're saying is just like, yeah, it makes sense why you're going to the Olympia. You couldn't get there any other way, to be honest.
Thank you.
And that's just not saying that because you're on, you know, Nutribolics and stuff. So,
Yes, Nutribolics.
if you can, what is some advice you can give? But if you can go back, say like, if you can go back in time, knowing what you know
Yes.
now, and give yourself advice, or even like people, you know, other up and coming competitive advice, what would you say?
What would I say advice wise? I feel like everything's just a learning process. Like you kind of have to go through it, go through certain things. Just always trust your intuition though. Like if something feels like off, whether it be with a coach or with like anyone in the industry, kind of just trust that and stay grounded. Like don't let the industry get to your head, because obviously like especially being young in the industry, people are going to try and sweep you off your feet and tell you all these things. So it's like just stay grounded and never let like your wins or your success get to your head. Stay humble, because at the end of the day, like as much as like it's amazing bodybuilding, there is still life outside of that. So if you get too caught up in it, it's kind of like outside of the bodybuilding world, if you tell someone you're a pro, they're like, what's that? So it's an amazing accomplishment in itself in the bodybuilding world. But like my sister always says the same thing. She's like, you guys are famous in your bodybuilding world. It's kind of like you guys are on Mars. And like outside people are like, okay, who's that? Like if you're like Ashley Cotwasser, they're like, who's that? Or like Jennifer Dorie, who's that? So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, never think that you're above anyone else just because you're a pro or because you're a bikini Olympian or you're a bikini champion or anything like that. You're a regular person. Like you're not above anyone else, even if someone's and like a regional competitor versus like a pro or an Olympian. I don't know, just don't place yourself above anyone else, because it's not a very good look.
Smart.
That's huge, actually. I say that I kind of, me and Rob think the exact same way. That's what keeps us humble.
Yeah.
Knowing that.
Yeah, I'm big on that.
Yeah.
Staying grounded.
You got next one, Rob?
Okay, so since there's like a million bikini competitors out there, and there's a lot of pro bikini competitors, how do you separate yourself from other bikini competitors, and how do you build like the Jennifer Dorie business?
I think for me, it's just being yourself, like not trying to be fake or anything like that. Like I just do my thing kind of thing. Like I just put in the work and I try and share it and let everyone else know, because a lot of people want to see insights to your journey, like sharing it on social media. People want to see what you eat, how you train. They want to know like an insight to how you train, certain things like that. So I think sharing and being open about it is helpful. In terms of physique wise, I think genetically, like I have a pretty good physique and I work hard obviously to build on top of that so it stands out. But yeah, bikini is like, there's so many of us and like we all look the same on stage half the time. So it's hard to stand out. It's honestly just being yourself. Same thing on stage. Like if you try and be someone else with your posing, it's not going to look natural and it's going to look overplayed and overtried. So it's just being yourself.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's the same thing for bodybuilders, physique competitors, classic.
Okay.
There's so many of us too. And even if you win your IFBB pro card, what does that mean, really? Right? Unless you make something of it.
Yeah, because even once people are like, once you win your pro card, that's an amazing accomplishment. But now you're thrown into an even bigger pool of fish where it's like, now you got to make something out of it. And that's when the real work begins, because once you turn pro, it's an even different ball game. It's even bigger.
Different pressure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, bigger monster out there.
But the pro shows are more fun, I find. Like, and like between competitors, it's a lot nicer at the pro shows than it is at the amateur level sometimes, especially compared to like a national competition where you have one shot at a pro card. For us Canadians, at least, you have one shot at the pro card. So it's like there's so much pressure going into that show versus a pro show. There's not really any pressure. You're just doing it for fun. And none of the girls are like catty backstage really because there's enough room for all of us in the top 5 kind of thing. There's shows every single weekend.
Yeah. I noticed doing Toronto, I was like going from the amateur to the pro stage in the same day. It was like night and day, night and day. There was no animosity backstage. Like,
no, not
I have
at
to
all.
beat this person. It was like everyone's just chilling.
Yeah, and even like you can see on stage too, like even in Tampa last weekend, like, well, me and Laura we roomed together actually. We stayed together in Tampa. And people were asking us all weekend, like they were like, oh, it's going to be between the two of you for first and second place. Like, what if one of you plays first, one of you plays second? How are you going to feel? I'm like, we're Canadian, you know, like we would be happy for each other because it's true. Like, I was just as happy that she won as if I had won. Like when we got off stage, we were like holding hands, walking off stage, or like right when I found out she won, it's like we hugged on stage kind of thing because there's no animosity. There's no need for it. Right. Yeah. We were all just happy we qualified. So.
Yeah. I remember the Toronto Pro, I bumped into Robin, I think he's coming out of the washroom or something, and I sat there and he said some stuff to me that was like really encouraging. Is like, you know, like, I've been following you, and, you know, doing good. I'm looking at him like, yeah, I mean, I didn't really do too good placing wise, but the encouragement was awesome, and I knew he was very genuine about it. And I said some stuff back to him, and I was like, you know, it feels really good. And then like a day later, he beats me, so, you know, it's and I was happy for him. It was like, it's cool because I think a little bit of the Canadian in us that we work so hard for a pro card, and then when we're there, we're happy for each other. But even as a whole, in the IFBB, I found that, you know, every show I was at, like, the camaraderie was absolutely amazing. Like, you know, there might be like one guy that's got his hood up in the corner.
There's always someone.
Yeah, but it was just like the camaraderie there is unbelievable. So, So, let me see. I got a good one for you. So social media, you got your social media and bikini competitors, or, you know, females in general. You know, they do their thing on social media with their booty shots and yada yada. How, like, any advice you can give to up and coming or other bikini competitors to, like, because I go through your, you know, I creep your page. That sounds bad. Creeper. But your page is very, it's very appropriate in a sense. You know,
it's PG.
It's PG.
My mom follows me, so
yeah,
she would be like, Jen, what is this? No, I just think a lot of times that the industry becomes so sexualized that, like, people feel the need to fall into that pressure to post it when it's realistically, like, you posting an inappropriate picture has nothing to do with you competing. Yeah. And, like, if that's what you need to post to get followers, chances are the followers who you're going to have are these creepy old dudes staring at your pictures. So, like, in terms of a business sense, you're not selling anything to them because they're not actually going to buy anything that you're promoting on your page. And in terms of, like, interaction between your followers, you want actual real followers who are going to engage with you. So I think, like, posting certain things like that a lot of times intimidate other women, and they're not going to engage in your post with you, versus if you post relatable things or real life things, normal photos, that's when you're going to get that engagement going on with your Instagram. And it's just, there's like a fine line between fitness and like softcore porn that people start posting on Instagram. I don't know. It's just a self-respect thing too, right? Because, like, your friends and family follow you on Instagram. They're going to see that too. Like, my brother follows me on Instagram. I'm not going to be posting some weird shots and he's like, what is this?
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize too, is that just because you have 1 million followers doesn't mean you're making money off those followers. If you give everything away for free, then why would anyone want to buy something from you? Right? Yeah. So
I call them free looks.
Yeah.
Free look.
It's a free look. That's
free.
Awesome. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
It's not going to make you place any higher.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Plus, other women will always look up to a girl who's self-respecting, and, you know,
exactly.
That goes a long way.
In terms of, like, followers, if you're posting stuff like that, the majority of your followers are males, not females. Because females don't really, like, I know for me, I don't really, when I'm scrolling my feed, I'm not liking pictures that are inappropriate like that, and I don't really want to see it either.
I guess the same for guys too, because if I see a guy that's looks good, he's doing like prep pictures, yeah, it's good. But if I see a guy that's like, you know,
Yeah.
just doing stupid, you know, like
Yeah. I
showing
know
your
what you
love,
mean.
you know, your sex lines and stuff in the mirror. It's
Yeah.
like, come on, man. Like, I'm not trying to. That doesn't inspire me whatsoever, you know.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, next. I
Yeah.
don't want to see this.
Yeah.
And I quickly scroll out of this.
My eyes. Oh my god. You got another one, Rob? You got the next question. You got another one? Yeah, you do.
Okay, so I know you're doing kinesiology. Right? How do you balance school with competitor lifestyle? I know you talked about this a
That
little
is
bit already
probably
with
like one of
balancing
the
stuff, but
toughest things. That's honestly really tough. Like even right now, I have a paper that's due on Friday and another term assignment that's due on Monday. So York was on strike for the past few months.
Question here. You take summer courses?
No, York was on strike.
Oh, okay.
So they just resumed from the strike now. So now all of a sudden I have all these papers and assignments due that I just found out about when I got back. So I'm like trying to get them done with my diet brain, which is fun. But no, it's definitely tough with school because when I'm in school, like I'm in school full time, so I'm at school every day and I work part time after school and then I train after that. So it's just making time for it because before I used to be like, there's no way I can do my cardio in the morning before school. I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. And then I'm like, well, you got to do it. So just kind of make it happen. I do my cardio before I go to school. I go to school, I bring all my meals for the day. And then I train late usually. Oh. It's just tough, like exam time or with assignments and stuff, because obviously like something is going to get sacrificed a little bit. And when you're in prep, like there's no sacrificing prep. So I try and just stay on top of it. Like if I have assignments and stuff, just get it done ahead of time, especially if I know I'm doing a show. But I've been kind of lucky that most of my shows don't start until like May, June. So it's about the end of like my school period anyways. So I'm not too depleted from my exams. Oh. I've done a few exams in peak week though, which isn't fun.
How's that?
Crazy.
I still got them done pretty well, so still managed to ace them.
So you're straight A what 4.0 student, bikini competitor.
That's me.
That's Canada, right? We're pushing education before athletics.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Hey, I think it keeps your mind sharper too, right? Like if you're studying, then you're not always thinking about food or getting on stage. It's like you can break up your thoughts into things that you're actually learning, and I think that'll help keep you focused.
Yeah, and especially for me, like with kinesiology, that's like my degree is all about like physiology, anatomy, biomechanics, stuff like that. So I can apply it, and it helps a lot in terms of like training and nutrition. I already know a lot of this knowledge, and that way it just helps me have a better awareness of my body as well.
Yeah, that's cool. So what do you do? Like, what's your career outside of competing, or are you just like a full-time bikini competitor?
I wish.
Soon.
Well, I work part-time. Yes, soon. That is my thing. While I'm in school, I still work part-time at a supplement store, and then I also do online coaching as well.
Cool.
For other bikini competitors.
So they can find you at.
You can email me, jennifer.dorie@hotmail.com, or send me a DM on Instagram, and then I'll get you to send me an email.
Sweet. Good to know.
Nice.
What was my questions at here?
Finish off with those quick fire questions.
Quick fire. All right.
I'm scared for these.
Let me see. Quick fire. All right. What's your favorite pastime? Go.
My favorite pastime. I like listening to music. I'm not like a Netflix person. I don't like TV really. I don't watch TV ever. I never have time for it. So music or like research is my thing.
All right. I wasn't expecting any of these answers. That's awesome. All right.
I'm a nerd.
Go, Rob.
What's your favorite cheat meal?
My favorite cheat meal? I have such a big sweet tooth, so anything sweet. Usually like burger, fries, and then 2 desserts, maybe more.
2 desserts.
I eat a lot.
I've seen those on your feed, man. They look pretty good. What's your favorite body part to train?
Probably shoulders or legs. Shoulders and legs.
So like shoulders and legs, or like shoulders and legs plus glutes?
Legs includes glutes, obviously. As a bikini competitor, legs means glutes too.
Okay.
So, legs like lower body.
Okay.
I hate training abs and arms though. Boring.
I love training abs and arms.
Well, this is why you're a bodybuilder and I'm a bikini girl.
I love training glutes too, so.
I guess you could switch over.
I'll be pretty ugly bikini competitor. Go ahead, Rob.
Tell us one random fact about yourself.
I am a twin, which I say it all the time, but people for some reason seem to think I'm joking. But no, I have a twin sister. I'm 2 minutes older. We're inseparable.
Wow, that's
Sweet.
cool. So there's like another like Olympian sitting there just doesn't want to compete.
Yeah, and she has like the exact same body. Like her metabolism is crazy. Like she eats junk all the time, and she's like just as lean as me. And I have to diet for it. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, you know, if you had a twin and you had like completely different training programs and diets, how they would turn out.
Yeah, she does all my training with me anyway, so I guess that's why she looks the same as me.
That's cool. Does
That's
she
cool.
have any like aspirations ever to step on stage?
No, she's like, I would never do it.
Nice.
She's too much into the food, and she sees the behind the scenes, the moodiness and stuff, so she's like, nope. She's like, I'll just watch.
Oh, cool. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, hopefully with one or a few Miss Olympia titles to my name is my goal. Maybe living in the States. Might have to leave Canada. Leave behind the cold winters.
Where in the States would you go?
Anywhere warm. I don't know. I just love to live somewhere. I don't like the winter. I'm not a winter person. I'd love to live somewhere where it's warm all the time.
All right.
And just the bodybuilding industry in the States is a little bit further ahead of us. To put it that way.
We're on a movement.
We're getting up there, though. Yes.
Yeah.
We're on a Canada movement here, starting here on Maple Leaf Muscle to bring some more awareness to bodybuilding here in Canada. So.
No, well, Canada's grown quite a bit in the past little.
That's the problem. That are good pros, they leave Canada.
Okay,
They're
fine,
like,
I'll
fuck
stay.
winter. Yeah.
Fine. Temporary residence there.
There you go.
And I'll come back.
It's okay if you live in Canada full time, but you go somewhere else while it's cold. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'll do then.
Yeah.
That's what I try to make myself. I try to get there as much as I can. Just training and stuff. Just I'm all the way out near Halifax, so.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got a way to trek. So it's possible. Just letting you know. Yeah. Don't leave Canada. We are Canadians.
I'll stay. I'll keep 1 foot on the ground here.
You got another one?
That's all I had.
That's all you have? All right. Well, is there anybody you want to thank? Any sponsors, maybe?
Sponsors, of course, Nutribolics. You guys have been great helping me out with a lot of stuff for my shows. Supplements, obviously. Yes, Johnny, pull out the Nutribolic shaker. As well as like Absolute Touch, hair tan makeup, my suit sponsor, Vixen Suits in Quebec. Friends and family for dealing with me and helping me stay grounded. So
awesome. So where can we find you? You have a YouTube channel. I know you have obviously Instagram and whatnot, but
yes, I'm actually going to start up a YouTube channel because a lot of people have been asking me. So I think I'm going to do like a Road to Olympia series. I'm going to go find myself a nice camera to vlog with and start that up probably next week.
Nice.
Get a Canon. Okay.
Canon, really good. Canon M3, or I think it's M50 or 60 now. It's a really good camera. Yeah.
Okay. I'll write that down.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you again for stopping by. Thank you, Jen, for being our first guest on Maple Leaf Muscle. Great interview.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Now we know who Jen Dorie is. I know you a lot more now, which is pretty cool. I would never have thought any of those things. Not saying I wasn't, but who would have thought that you would be a well-balanced kines nerd bikini competitor that doesn't like Netflix?
I'm not a TV person, though. I feel like it's a waste of my time.
There you go.
Johnny's frozen on me.
There you go.
There, you're good.
Johnny, you were like mid-blink there for a second.
I was watching you guys. You guys all look ridiculous too. You were like, She just this the whole time posing. She looks like a freaking 24-hour snapshot. So very good. She knows how to pose just in case the camera locks out on you.
Pose. Just in case.
We gotta learn. We gotta learn still.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by again, and follow us on Maple Leaf Muscle on Instagram, maple.leaf.muscle, and on YouTube. And you can follow me, Johnny Shreve, at johnny.shreve on Instagram, Johnny Shreve on YouTube, Johnny Shreve on Facebook, Johnny Shreve everything. And Robin?
You can find me at Strand Strong on Instagram. You can find me at Robin Strand on YouTube.
Perfect. Until next time, thanks for stopping by, and oh, Canada.
And I'm going to go get me a beaver tail.
Beaver tail, double.
Yep, me too.
There you go.